Hey, I'm Kyle from the Distilled Man. So this channel is all about providing actionable advice for the everyday gentleman. So guys, if you're not taking care of your shoes, you're basically pissing money away. There's no point in buying nice shoes at all. Unless, of course, you're one of those people who lives on a private yacht or sleeps in a bed of money. But assuming you don't have money to burn, taking care of your shoes is a very good move. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 ways to make your shoes last way longer. Real quick, I want to give a big thanks to DistilleDMAN for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel. Number 1, use shoe trees. Now, if you haven't seen shoe trees, the name is a little confusing because they really look nothing like trees, although the good ones are made out of wood. Shoe trees help physically hold the shape of your shoe while you're not wearing them, but even more importantly, they absorb moisture, which is going to help keep the leather from breaking down over time. So this right here is kind of a standard shoe tree made out of cedar wood, and most people swear by cedar wood for shoe trees because it has the added advantage of sort of helping combat odor in the shoe because cedar is so fragrant. But I have read that theoretically any kind of wood would work as long as it absorbs moisture. How many woods could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck? How many chucks could a wood? All that said, in a pinch, one DIY trick for shoe trees is actually to use rolled up newspaper. And so depending on how tightly you roll those things, it can actually help preserve the shape. Maybe not quite as well as wood, but it will certainly help absorb the moisture. Number 2, dust bags are your friend. So dust bags are basically what they sound like, cloth bags that you can put your shoe in to keep the dust off. But wait, there's more. Dust bags can also protect your shoes from scrapes and scuffs that they might get just by kind of being jostled about in your closet if they're near other shoes or items. And they're great if they're in a sunlit environment and you're worried about the leather fading. Dust bags are perfect for travel too. So I don't know about you, but when I pack, I don't like the idea of the dirty soles of my shoes rubbing up against my underwear and other clean undergarments. They're also great for keeping the shoes from getting scratched in your luggage from like buckles or zippers or anything else that might scratch them. One thing to remember, you want to get dust bags that are breathable, because if you use a synthetic material or a plastic bag that doesn't breathe, that's actually going to trap the moisture in with the shoe, and over time that's actually going to be worse for the shoe. Now, a lot of nicer shoe brands like our sponsor back at DistilleDMAN will provide dust bags with their shoes. So if you have that, you're set. But if you need dust bags and you don't want to buy them or they didn't come with your shoes, one DIY trick is to just use old pillowcases. And you can just take a little bit of ribbon, a little bit of string or whatever, tie it around the end, and voila, you got yourself a dust bag. Number 3, stop treating your shoes like crap. Yeah, that's right. You know what I'm talking about. No, actually, to be honest, most of us, when we get a new pair of shoes, we're actually really precious about them, and we try really hard not to get them scuffed or messed up or get stepped on when we're out and about in the world. But one thing you might not realize is that the way you put your shoes on and the way you take them off might actually be damaging them. First, if your shoes are a little bit snug, you'll definitely want to use a shoehorn when you put them on. If you don't, you may wear out the inside back of your shoe over time. So I'm sure you've seen shoehorns before. This is kind of a smaller one, but they do have longer ones that you can use if you have trouble bending over or trouble reaching your shoes. Just put the shoehorn in the inside of the back of the shoe and then use that to gently guide your heel into the back of the shoe. Now again, some nicer shoe companies may actually give you a shoehorn with your shoes, but if you don't have one trick I learned from Antonio Centeno over at Real Men Real Style is to use the end of your belt. Now it's not going to work quite as well as a proper shoehorn, but in a pinch, it can work. The other thing is the way that you take your shoes off. And so first, you should never be lazy and use the toe of one shoe on the back of the other shoe to take it off. Also, you should never grab the inside back of the shoe to take it off. The proper way to take your shoe off is to first make sure the laces are completely unlaced so that there's no resistance in taking your shoe off. And then to grab the shoe by the bottom and then grab the heel and then pull directly off. And over time, this is really going to help you avoid unnecessary wear on your shoe. Number 4, shine your shoes regularly. Okay, you knew this one was coming. And as far as how often to shine your shoes, it really depends on kind of how often you wear them. So if you wear your shoes every day, then maybe you should polish your shoes weekly. But if you wear your shoes only occasionally, then maybe every 3 to 6 months is going to be okay. Now, here's a quick refresher on how to shine your shoes. First, set down a newspaper or an old towel or just something so that you don't get the mess everywhere. Then you want to take out the laces. It just makes it a lot easier when you're shining the shoe. Next, you're going to want to put a shoe tree in your shoe or maybe just some watered up newspaper just to sort of hold the shape of the shoe while you're polishing it. And that way you'll be able to get into some of those nooks and crannies really easily. Or worst case, you could just use your hand Then you're going to take a cloth or a brush and try to get off any loose dirt or other schmutz that might be on the shoe. Next, you want to apply some shoe polish to the shoe, and then you want to let it dry for 15 to 20 minutes, and this is key. And this is a great time for you to, practice a musical instrument, meditate, or maybe just get back in touch with yourself. So once you've waited, now you can take a shoe brush and then gently brush the outside of the shoe. And the purpose of this is really to use the friction and heat from the brushing to help evenly distribute that polish so that it gets into all those crevices and evenly smooths out over the shoe. And then once you've brushed the shoe, you can take a soft cloth and really just polish it all over. Now, after all that, it's time to get the coveted spit shine. And the secret to that is... No, it's not actually spit. I mean, you could use spit, but it's actually water. So what you want to do is you want to evenly dab a few drops of water on the shoe and polish it. You only want to do it in those areas where you have smooth, uncreased leather, like the toe and the heel, because if you do it in those areas in the middle of the shoe where there are more creases and indentations, those creases are going to show up even more with the spit shine, and you don't want that. So now that you have the nice spit shine, just be careful not to get distracted by looking at yourself in your beautiful shiny shoes. Number 5, so the obvious tip if you want your shoes to last is to also think about just buying better quality shoes. So yes, they're going to be more expensive, but they are going to last you longer. First, you're probably going to be a lot more motivated to take care of them, let's be honest, but also the leather is probably going to be higher quality, probably full grain leather, not top grain or genuine leather, but full grain. Also, if you get a quality shoe that has a stitched leather sole, usually that means you can have them resoled. And getting your shoes resoled is like a whole new life for your shoes, assuming you've been taking care of the uppers. And if you're not sure about where to get a better quality shoe without totally breaking the bank, one brand to look at is Beckett Simonon. So they make really, really good shoes. They're handmade, but they also have a different business model that allows them to charge really reasonable prices for what they produce. You see, most shoe brands have about a 3 times markup on the shoe. So what you're paying for isn't actually the shoe, it's all these other things. First, they're contracting with third-party vendors, so they probably have production minimums, which means more waste, which you end up paying for. They also have to have inventory for all those shoes, so they pay for that. And then finally, they're paying for retail space. Beckett Simonon does their own production in-house. They hand make their shoes in small batches, so there's a lot less waste. Each month they have different styles available online. You just pick out what you want and then you pre-order it. Now it does take 8 to 12 weeks for the shoes to come because again, they're being produced on demand. And that can be a deal breaker if you have like a wedding to go to or something like that. But if you have the patience, you're gonna be pretty happy with the results. Plus they send you updates during the whole process so you know what's going on with your shoes the whole time. Not too long ago, I did a video review of Beckett Simonon, and the shoe I looked at was a black cap-toed Oxford. This time I got the Valencia Hole Cuts, which are maybe an even more elegant shoe because they're made from a single piece of full-grain Argentinian calfskin. From what I've read, hole cuts are even more challenging to make. If you think about it, you have to find a larger piece of fine leather without blemishes, but also just using a single piece of leather and being able to achieve that right shape is pretty challenging as well. So these are pretty impressive. And they have resolable blade construction, so you can resole these if you need to. So these are only $199 with free shipping. So I think a pretty good value for the money, especially since if you take care of these shoes, they're gonna last you a very, very long time. And if you wanna check out Beckett Simonon, you can save 20% off if you use offer code DISTILLEDMAN at checkout. Big thanks to Beckett Simonon for sponsoring this video and supporting the channel, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you want to subscribe and see more videos like this, you can do that by clicking right about here. If you want a free copy of my ebook, 48 Hour Gentleman, you can get that by clicking right here. And if you just want to watch another Distilled Man video, you can do that by clicking right about here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you soon.